Rob, about you.
Why? What are they saying?
You'll hear.
All right,
Okay.
welcome back. We
are back. Thank goodness. Thank God.
I can't
We
call
are
it the
back
Ask Coach
again.
Mike show because we've changed it a few times, but we will have a permanent name very soon, and we're excited. So tonight we have another great guest, and let's start like we always try to start with a great pickleball point. So hopefully, if you guys can't hear this, please let me know.
Oh, darn. This one doesn't have me in it.
I don't know if I've seen this one.
Yeah, you have. No, I thought it was gone. Oh, I thought that one was gone. No.
Nice resets. Nice reset by Riley Newman again.
Look at Cassidy, man. Look at him going across like that, like nothing, like butter.
Rob.
Oh, I got it. No, you stay there. I'll get this
Rob
one.
is there. Rob Cassidy's there to
Look
reset.
at that nice
Rob
soft
Newman's
hands.
there. A speed up.
What a sick point.
Sick point.
Oh, she said the same thing. Another
A
soft
reset by
touch.
Tyson
Great.
McGuffin. A speed up. And Rob Nunnery is
Tyson
there.
did not see it
Whoa.
coming. I'm shocked.
That's a good one. I haven't seen that one since it actually happened. So that's cool.
Well, the funny story is we had your partner in that event, Rob Cassidy, on, and I said, I told him, I said that was one of the first, one of the coolest events I'd seen. I really hadn't seen a lot of pro pickleball in person at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was on, I didn't have that point. And since then, I found it. Obviously, Michelle is doing a little broadcasting on that one, and just such a great point. But that match was sick.
Yep.
As I remember,
Yeah.
you guys lost early, and then you battled. You had like 5 or 6 matches in a row.
Yeah.
And then Riley Newman and Tyson, just a great match. I think it was like 15-12 or something like that. But
yeah.
So welcome,
yeah.
Rob Nunnery. We're so happy to have you.
Yes, thank you, Rob. Appreciate your time.
Pleasure, guys. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. This is Coach Mike's favorite question.
Yeah.
So let's go. And I know it hasn't been that long. So how did pickleball find you, Rob?
Yeah, it's actually my buddy is Adam Franklin, who is the president owner of Franklin Sports. So, and Franklin Pickleball, obviously. But he had sent me, or he had told me a couple of years ago that pickleball was kind of blowing up for them, and they noticed it a few years ago, and they went pretty fast into it. So he was like, yeah, most of the top pickleball guys, pickleball pros, are ex-college, ex-pro tennis guys, and he knew that was kind of my background. So he was like, here, I'll just send you a paddle and just give it a go. So that was when I was living in Austin in 2019, and basically didn't really know what it was still. So I literally Googled pickleball lesson Austin, and found a guy at Austin Tennis Center that would give me a lesson the next morning, and then went out, tried it out, and it was, I got hooked right away. And basically after that lesson, I came home, told my wife, I was like, I think I'm going to do pro pickleball. And she's like, what is pickleball? What do you do? Because I'm an all or nothing kind of guy in general. So she wasn't shocked that I said I was going to do something aggressive like that, but she just didn't know what pickleball was. So yeah, the rest was history from there. That was the end of 2019. Cool. Yeah.
So I read your blog. We're talking about a guy who's, barely two years into the sport. You had to deal with COVID, and probably, you lost some tournaments and that sort of thing.
Realistically, a little bit over a year. We all lost last year, right?
Yeah, more or less. I think I played all I could last year, but there weren't many tournaments.
No.
So January of 2019, you woke up and you'd never even heard of this game.
Oh, no. Not until I think it was maybe August of 2019.
That's so cool. And now you're obviously a pro. So I read your blog, beginner to pro in 1 year. Pretty impressive, what you've done. What would you tell somebody that, maybe they have a tennis background, maybe they don't, maybe it's racquetball or squash or table tennis or something like that.
Yeah.
What's the Cliff Notes version of doing it quickly like you have?
Yeah, I think there's a few things, right? One is, like, are you saying in respect to wanting to be a pro or try to go to play at the pro level? Because there's a couple
yeah.
answers. Okay, got it. If that's the case, you kind of have to make that commitment very early on. Like I made that commitment and really declared it the first time I played, and even did my first Instagram post. If you go to my Instagram, is me talking into the video saying I'm going to be a pro pickleball player within a year. So public accountability really helps in that respect. Just kind of laying it out there, saying you're going to do it, and then making it happen. But outside of that, it's really obviously playing as much as you can. And at the beginning, it's playing with really good players. I've heard some pros that have come in and, they would go play at their local rec center or local gym with 3-5s, and they'd have fun because they were winning nonstop, right? But that's not really how you're going to get better. You're actually going to develop a ton of bad habits doing that. So I think for me, one of the best things that happened in Austin was I got looped into a 5-0 group right away, even though it was like my first week. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know anything. And it was, I got thrown into the fire and got beat up on by a bunch of seniors, and it's humbling. And, and that kind of just drove me though. So yeah, I would say play with as high level players as you can at the beginning. It matters a lot. Fantastic.
So over the last, I think your last 4 tournaments you've medaled, looks like mostly men's. You got a bronze in Hilton Head. You got a silver in the Texas Open. You got a bronze in the Las Vegas Open, and you had 3 different men's partners.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. So do you, I know you played with Rob obviously a little bit, and you played with Adam and Deckel in those 3 tournaments. Mm-hmm. Is it just based on schedule or?
Yeah, it's a little bit based on schedule. Like I played with so much Rob this year that, I think that's another kind of interesting thing about pro pickleball that I didn't know until I actually started was the whole partner game is quite difficult. All of the stuff, partners are set with these guys
a year in advance.
Yeah, so
Easy.
It makes it for a guy coming into the sport. Made it really hard to get partners. I was very, very fortunate to find Rob, and we were obviously able to do quite well this year. I think we medaled quite a bit. So outside of that, I had just kind of developed friendships with Declan and Adam, and they had a couple open spots. So it's fun being on court with them, and they're obviously both have been in the game much longer than I have and are much more established. So getting good shots and chances to play with players like that's very lucky and fortunate for me. So
that's fantastic. I know Coach Mike talks about, finding partners, and as a coach, he coaches a lot and doesn't really have access to the tournament scene as often. So for him, as a senior pro, he's got a challenge as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then there's not a lot of old farts like me out there playing, Rob. So it changes the whole game. You have a lot to choose from. Your basket's way full. But I would say you're being really humble about playing with those guys that you're naming, that they're not going to plug you in. You know this as well as I do. They're going to plug someone in that's going to make their journey even tough. They're going to say, well, this guy's got all the tricks, got all the games. He's smart. He knows his technical and tactical skills. They're not just say, oh, yeah, let's just try this new guy. It's not like this. You were very humbled when you said that, so I wanted to bring that up. People that have never played even close to your level don't understand all the work that's involved to get there. And, listen, you're very fortunate. You're probably younger. What are you, 30 maybe? 30-something?
36. Yeah,
36. So you're a baby. Yeah. You have such crazy innate athletic skills. And when you're coaching people and they go, yeah, I want to be a 4-5. I said, why don't you realize what a 3-5 can do and then work your way up? But you jumped right in at full force because you can. Physically, you can do it.
Right. So that's another aspect, right? You have to be realistic in terms of what your ceiling might be, right? If you've played really high level tennis, you've probably got a shot, right? But I've also seen a lot of really high level tennis players where it doesn't translate so well. So I like doubles, I like tennis doubles quite a bit. So I knew I had fast hands. I like table tennis quite a bit. So I knew I had kind of the things that translated best for pickleball. But there'll be some high level tennis players that are just really good at ground strokes that won't translate well. They don't have very fast hands, but they're really great from the baseline of tennis. Mm-hmm. So
they're not a fan of the kitchen.
Exactly. They want to stay back. And you see a lot of those guys that come from tennis, right? They just want to wail on the ball. It doesn't get you very far. I learned that my first month or so, just continuing to
What, from
lose.
the old seniors that whooped on you? I heard you say that earlier.
Oh yeah, no, it happened for sure, and it like drove me mad because I was like, I didn't want to change my strategy. I just wanted to keep going through them, and you can't go through them. You just can't. You got to play soft. So that's actually one interesting aspect of coming into the sport. It's I came in kind of banging right away, trying to speed everything up, trying to hit through people. I really, really think the best way to come into the sport is by really embracing the soft game right away. Especially if you come
Did you hear
from
what
another
he
racket
just
sport.
said?
I heard that.
Yeah. I think it's the foundation of everything. If you can't play soft, you're not going to get very far. And Adam Stone told me that very early on in my kind of when I came into the sport. He was like, if you want to be relevant, you've got to be able to play the soft game. That stuck with me all the time. So like whenever I would go practice, I would just focus on just not making many errors, keeping balls soft and unattackable. And, it's not my probably natural style to play. Like if you watch a lot of my matches, I like to speed up because I like to trust my hands. I like to get people into awkward spots and try to take, that's kind of my style. But at the same time, if I can't rely on being consistent and playing soft, then the speed ups aren't going to work. So
Jeff, let's just not skip the part like having crazy wheels. That makes a big difference. Big difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Rob, you have your own podcast with Ben Johns called The Freestyle Boys. Tell us a little bit about that podcast and how did that all come about?
It came about very suddenly. I had a prior podcast that was more focused on kind of business and entrepreneurship called Fail On, and I would basically interview different entrepreneurs, business owners, athletes, musicians about kind of their journey to kind of the top of their field. So nobody gets to the top of their field without going through a lot of crap and going through struggles and failures. So so I had quite a bit of podcast experience doing that, and then I kind of hung that up in 2018. So but I still had the equipment. So I was like, Ben was over one day, and I was like, you know what? Let's just throw these headsets on and press record and just see what comes out, and maybe we do something with it, maybe we don't. And we just posted it, and I don't know. It's as
fun.
The podcast says, it's freestyle. So we do it for fun. We just like the banter. We like to talk about pickleball, and we record it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You got really good topics that you talk about, I have to tell you guys. So I watched it a few times.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So a lot of nonsense.
That goes with it, though. There's nothing wrong with that.
It does.
Yeah, you got to have fun, right? So Coach Mike and I have read your posts on the cost of playing pickleball. I mean, I think they're spot on. So what is, first of all, what has the feedback been from other pros? And how much are the newly announced stipends from the APP going to help with that?
Cool. So I think the response has been pretty positive. I think right when I posted, a lot of guys reached out and ladies reached out and said spot on, really. But so there's lots of talks in private amongst pros about what's going on, the costs, and how the prize money is really top heavy. Just the barriers to get into the sport if you're a new player. So the feedback was really positive. And sorry, what was the second part of that question?
About the APP stipends.
Yeah, anything helps, right? So the fact that they're covering entry fees is a big deal. Also covering the stipend, which covers airfare or hotel and stuff like that. It's also super helpful. Really, anything that these tours can provide the players is going to help grow the sport. So it's awesome. There's lots of different ways to look at it, right? There's positives, there's also negatives. There's still the barrier for new players coming in because these tournaments just simply don't pay very deep, which I think's it's a massive deal. And not only that, but just the cost of entry fees. It was really like sticker shock coming into the sport. I was like, signed up for the 2020 Mesa, my first tournament. I couldn't believe it. I was like, my goodness, $400 to play 3 events is insane.
Wow.
So
for people, just hang on, for people that don't know, Rob, because there's a lot of people that are newer that might be watching.
Sure.
It varies based on your level. So when you start playing pro, they expect you to pay more because you can win more. And so somebody else might say, hey, Mike, I paid $75 for the tournament. It's not that expensive. Yes.
Yeah.
And you played one match with one person. So they start adding up really quickly. And most people, they'll just go to local tournaments. They don't understand that you guys travel across the United States, and more people are starting to learn about it. So the article hit home.
Yep. Yeah, it's entry fees, it's the hotels, it's the airfare, it's the car rental, it's the food, it's the physical therapist when you have to go get a massage, or it adds up. Yeah, if people want to read more about kind of the whole cost about it, it's somewhere on my Facebook. But yeah,
a lot of it's common sense, but I have to tell you that as you get into the sport more and as you travel more and you're going to get older, we make friends all over the United States.
Yep.
Anybody comes close to my town, they're staying at my place. And it's a vice versa thing. So it really works out well. So yeah, but you're connecting with all the right people. Your sponsorship came up right away. That's hard. You're talking about trying to get a little bit of help, and some people are never going to get a sponsorship, no matter how good they play. They might not be at the right place at the right time. And then one more dynamic that's huge, where you are in your life at that time.
That's a big deal.
You might have a very supportive wife and somebody else may not. So it changes everything. I don't know.
Yeah, no, if I had kids, this would probably not even be a conversation we're having right now. I wouldn't even be in pickleball. So yeah, there's a lot of factors.
So Rob, I have a friend, and I think I might have even commented this on your post, the original post, but I have a friend whose son is, trying to make his way into the golf world. So about a month ago, he played in the first round, qualifying round, Q School for the Corn Ferry Tour, which is, just below the PGA Tour. $5,500 entry fee, top 12 plus ties, move on to the next round. $5,600 entry fee, no prizes.
Wild. 3
weeks later, he's here in Florida playing the second round. It's top 12 plus ties, another, $5,500. No prize money. So, obviously pickleball is a little bit different, and, it's more of a team sport, but, guys that are trying to make it, are they
depending mainly on sponsorships? Like, does he have sponsors that are helping cover those entry fees and stuff like that?
He's got a few sponsors, but they don't, you think about that, a $5,500 entry fee plus flights, plus, everything else. And then, you finish top 12 and there's no prize money.
Yeah.
And they have 3 rounds like that. He unfortunately didn't make it through the second round, but over $11,000 in plus expenses, and he's back.
Sure. So it's relative.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe that'll make you feel a little bit better, Rob.
It doesn't. That's interesting. I had no idea.
All right, so let's have a little fun for a minute. Is it true that you taught Will Ferrell tennis? Did I read that?
Yeah, he did. I don't know where you found that or where I even said that, but I did. I was living out in Huntington Beach, actually about 10 years ago, and taught tennis at actually where they have all of the pickleball tournaments now at Newport Beach Tennis Club.
Oh wow!
And I was teaching tennis there with a guy named Taylor Dent, who used to be a good American tennis player, and Will Ferrell was one of the clients that would come quite regularly. So yeah.
Is he always funny or?
But just kind of like in real life in kind of the dry, subtle way. But yeah, not the most athletic or coordinated guy, but
that's believable.
That's a cool claim to fame. I like that.
Sure.
So one thing that I read, this makes all the sense in the world, but it's counterintuitive. When you said somewhere in your blog that when you're playing rec, you want to hit the ball to the better player. Right? Yep. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world, but most minds down here at East Naples where I play, they say, okay, Coach Mike's the weaker player. I'm going to hit it to him.
Good. Please bring it. Bring it.
But,
Right.
the reality is that if you want to get better and you want to perform better in tournaments, you hit it to the better player.
Yes. It all comes back to your goals, right? Like if you're
Right.
like for me coming up, my goal is to get as good as I can. I'm not going to get good if I just focus on the weaker player and just win rec games. It's going to make me feel good for a minute, but it's not going to make me be better. So I would imagine a lot of people just that are playing, kind of locally like you guys are like within your area. I think they probably just want to win.
Right.
So, but if you want to actually get better, it's very important. Like when I was first starting, Adam Stone would come join the 5-0 group sometimes, like because he's from Houston and he would visit family and come through Austin when I was here. And I remember seeing it for the first time there. Like I would be Adam's partner for the rec game, and as Adam's partner, if they wanted to win, they should play to me because I was just starting. It wasn't good. But every single ball went to Adam, and I was like, I want to play too. But they were, one, wanting to get better, but two, also wanting to give Adam a very good workout because he came and visited and played with that group.
There you go.
That makes sense.
Just being
Fantastic.
appreciative. Yeah.
So it's just thinking outside of yourself, right? It's like, it's not, and also it's just not fun isolating a player. And it's also, you get into very bad habits doing that, just isolating the weaker player. You'll go down the line sometimes when you shouldn't. Like if you're playing a good team, they'll punish you for it. So just not great in practice to just focus on isolating somebody.
What's the old adage, Rob? You play the way you practice.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
That's just such, basic stuff, but, makes all the sense in the world.
You're right. It is counterintuitive because you play a game to win, right? But if you want to get better, win by beating the better player. That'll make you feel way better than beating the weaker player.
Heck, it depends who you're talking to.
Very true. That's a good point.
So, Rob, tell us how excited you are about the Major League Pickleball tournament this weekend. It's just this weekend, right?
It is. It's Friday to Monday. It's going to be a blast. Yeah.
And the good news is no hotel costs, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's an easy commute for me.
Right in your backyard.
Yeah, so sleeping in the own bed, got my dog with me. It's nice because I was just looking up how many tournaments I played this year, and it was over 20. I think it was like 22, 23, something like that.
Wow.
But that's a lot of time on the road and out of your own bed, and so
away from your wife, away from your dog.
Yeah. I mean, my wife came for a lot of it.
Good.
But not my dog.
What do you do with the dog? Somebody babysits?
Yeah, usually we have somebody that stays here with her, or she stays with a friend. So
we look when we go, which is seldom. We look for dog friendly hotels because she's great. She loves the hotel beds.
Yeah, if it's drivable, she definitely comes with us.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So you're it's Team Black, right?
It is.
So your teammates Andrea Coop, Irina, Ben Johns. Are you kidding me?
Whoa.
Yeah, we should be pretty good.
He should be really good. I got to think you got to be the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about MLP is that just the way the draft worked out, if you pick the first guy, you have to pick the 16th. 16th is your other pick, and then you get the 8, 9 choices on the women's side. I think it makes for a pretty fair and balanced landscape of teams. So I think, I like our chances. I like our team. Maybe some people would call us favorites, but everybody's going to be like, all the teams are going to be very good.
Absolutely.
Just with the format and how the draft picks worked out. So it's got to go earn it for sure.
So tell us a little bit.
You have earned it. And I think it's fair to say you're at the top of the food chain when you start naming all those people.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I have a lot more to work on. I don't think I'm close to my ceiling. So
good deal.
I'm still super hungry and super motivated to get better. So.
Nice. Stay there. Just stay there.
Yeah.
So those that are familiar with this, tell us how that breaks down, what you'll be playing for matches, men's mixed, singles, how that all works.
Sure. So the format is there's basically 8 teams, each with two men and 2 women. And so every team will play the other team. So every team will play 7 team matches. So first up, you're going to have women's doubles, and so you have women's doubles, then you have men's doubles, and then you'll have mixed doubles 1, mixed doubles 2. So there's 4 matches, and if it splits and the team matches at 2-2, then it goes to a singles tiebreaker, which is rally scoring.
Wow.
Yep, and it's an interesting format to where it's each player rotates 4 points at a time.
Ooh, that's
I guess that'll move
fascinating.
it along.
Yeah, so it's kind of a fun, wacky tie break, and I would imagine quite a lot of the matches will go to a 2-2. So we're going to see some interesting. You'll see some interesting matchups. You could see Ben Johns play a female in singles for 4 points. Just never know. So yeah, it'll be fun. And then the top 2 teams come Monday will go to the Duper Bowl. So that's going to be the finals, and that'll be to win on CBS Sports Network, which is also quite nice.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so that the team that wins that will be MLP Season 1 champions.
Very cool. So will that be Monday, the championship?
That'll be Monday night. I think it's 8 p.m. Either, I'm not sure if it's Central or Eastern, but it's Monday evening.
Very
That's
nice.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, that's a home game for you. It's at Dreamland, and that's in Dripping Springs. Is that right?
Dripping Springs, yeah. Which
is that
is
right
about
next to Austin, or
it's about 45 minutes southwest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you work there too? Is that right?
A bit. I don't teach a ton, but I have the opportunity to teach here, and I do some clinics and stuff like that. Vivian and Sarah David teach more regularly. They do weekly clinics. Declan teaches about the same amount I do. We do some clinics occasionally. But yeah, it's fun because they're great to us here. They really support pro pickleball. So it's basically a training facility for us, and we can work and make as much money as we want in terms of teaching. So it's a great setup.
And it's in an amusement park, is that right?
Yeah.
It's basically world-class level mini golf.
Like
so
goofy golf?
Sorry?
Not goofy golf. I mean like holes and curves and
Yeah, but not on actual. I know there's some that have actual grass. It's not actual grass, but it's just very, very challenging mini golf.
Okay.
So there's a couple mini golf courses. They've got a disc golf course. Now have 16 pickleball courts.
Wow.
There's amazing art that's been curated by the art director here. There's live music almost every night. They've got this, and that's on the front 10 acres of the property. They've got another 70 acres pushing to the back, where I think they want to build a really massive music venue. So there's
that's your backyard.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not so bad.
That's cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Hey, so I wanted to throw something in there because I got some text messages from a few of the other pros that we all know, and I want to tell you what they said.
Sure.
One of the nicest, most genuine guys on the tour. And I quote. So listen, that's not for me because I don't even really know you well, but other people are making comments like that about you. I just wanted to share it with you.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice little pat on the back, and rightly so.
It pays to be nice to people, right? Like it's such a small tour as well. Like we see each other every weekend. It's like no point in ever being a jerk to people. So yeah.
Well, nice. It's interesting you bring that up. You think about, your friend, it's Adam, right? Adam Franklin.
Yeah.
Imagine, you meet this guy, you're not very nice to him, and you find out, hey, he owns one of the largest sporting goods manufacturers in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know. And
you never know.
Hey, Rob, quick question. Had anybody else approached you, or you just walked right into having an agreement with Franklin?
No, so I didn't have a deal with Franklin. I mean, they gave me some paddles and stuff, but they weren't actually we didn't actually have a signed agreement for probably a year into it. So I did have to fend for myself with entries, with travel, and I even talked to Adam, and he was like, I just wanted to make sure that you were going to actually see it through and take it seriously and pursue it as a real thing. And yeah, so I had to earn it. That's for sure. But yeah, it was still like when the deal happened, it was still quite early on. I didn't have a ton of solid results yet. So yeah, I didn't really even talk to anyone else. It was just Franklin.
Yeah. Okay.
Very cool. So do you
Yeah.
have your own paddle yet? Has Franklin made you a paddle?
Yeah, so we've got kind of the same thing they did with Zane. Like Zane's got his Ben John's style paddle, but with his colors. So I've got basically a one of one Ben paddle with my colors. So not sure on when that's coming out yet, but it's basically an all black paddle with kind of red highlights.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
No nicknames?
No nicknames. That's a good
Nunner.
question.
Nunner. I mean, you were a kid.
You gotta ask Cassidy. Cassidy always yells stuff at me. I think
Okay. We'll ask him.
None's one. Yeah, I think none. Just none.
None.
Yeah.
Well, the two that I read were Reset Rob and Pickleball Rob.
Pickleball Rob was the self-proclaimed, like my first video. I was like, I need to be known by something. I don't like it though. I don't like Pickleball Rob. We could retire that one. Reset Rob. Yeah, it's all right.
Not so bad.
It's all right. Yeah.
You got to remember to stay soft, right? Reset Rob.
Gotta stay soft. Yeah.
So I know this hasn't been a long tenure. So to this point in your career, what is one of your favorite moments on the pickleball court and why?
Well, my go-to here is when I hit Ben. Ben was in Florida and we were practicing, and like we were doing like hand battle. I don't think he was really quite paying attention, but I really popped one, and it hit him right in the
Wrong
the
place.
twig right in the twig and berries. And
Oh no.
he was on the ground for a solid 5 minutes, almost in tears. So that's a fun moment for me.
Get out of here. That's sick. What do you mean fun?
It's fun for me.
What's wrong with you?
Now didn't the
You
same
hurt
thing?
the guy.
Didn't the same thing happen to Colin like earlier this year somewhere out west?
Oh yeah. No, I think first
Or
off,
was
it's amazing when Colin gets hit because he doesn't like it and he throws it like he's very animated about it. And so yeah, whenever I see one of the Johns boys get hit with a ball, it's very fun for me.
Okay.
And for most people, I would imagine.
Well, it's rare.
Yeah, it is rare. So
Yeah,
it's good.
So Rob, I think I read somewhere that when you started out to raise a little bit of money, were you selling for Franklin at tournaments? Is that right?
Yeah, you're digging in the archives here. I don't know where you're finding this stuff. I only did it for it was kind of one of my thoughts at the beginning. I was like, once I saw the entry fees and the cost of actually trying to pursue pickleball, I was like, I got to figure out a way to help offset this a little bit. So I talked to Franklin. I was like, hey, what if I just set up a tent at this tournament and I can man the tent and then I can also play and we'll see how it goes. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It wasn't horrible. I didn't mind doing it, but at the same time, like it's very distracting. Like I could not imagine now having to be in charge of something like that while also being able to focus like you need to actually play the tournament.
No focus.
So
no way.
it was a one and done for me. So it was my first tournament, like a little small tournament that I signed up for right before the 2020 Mesa in Arizona, and yeah, it was a one.
Yeah, how would you know if you don't try it? You got to learn.
Yeah,
listen, it could have been. My wife comes with me; she'll man the booth, I'll play, and
yeah, that is also a thought. But even then, it was not going to happen. It was worth doing.
It's a lot of work only because I have a lot of friends that come and they have booths, and it's a lot of work for not a lot of money.
The shipping,
oh my gosh, your travel, your food, your time, and now Rob, your time is going to create more value for you. You're going to say, listen, I can't do this clinic anymore for this price. It's now going to be this price because of your success. It's just going to happen. It just comes with the program. Yeah.
So Rob, to this point, do you have a favorite venue or venues that you like to play, one over another, or, one that kind of stands above the rest?
Yeah, it's a good question. I enjoyed Delray, the Delray Tennis Center quite a bit. That was a really kind of unique aspect of the stadium court. I always like going to California purely. It's less about the venue and more about the weather, not having to worry about you guys know the Florida humidity, just the southern humidity is brutal, especially in the summer. So
We have humidity
yeah,
in Florida, Jeff?
a little bit occasionally, but going through 12 different shirts in a day for a tournament's brutal. I spend more time changing than playing pickleball.
So Rob, here's a quick funny story. I get a
Yeah.
phone call from this guy, Jeff Wildy, today. He goes, Michael, I played pickleball in 65 degrees today. It was amazing.
That sounds nice.
Oh, that was in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it does happen.
It does happen. It's not a lot, but it happens.
Well,
It has snowed in Florida, just not really down south where we are.
No, Florida's great in the winter. Absolutely.
Yeah,
But listen, I want to bring something up. It's really important. We usually touch on this, but you are way younger. But having said that, you want to be healthy at 62 or 63, right? You're hoping you can still do what you're doing at my age, correct? And one of the things that most people forget about is, what are you doing to stay there? How are you maintaining? And I recently got involved with this guy. I know he knows you, and I'm going to bring him up. And he has a pistol fits in your hand. It's called Yobo, Y-O-B-O. Dave's just a very good guy, and I wanted to plug him because I've been using it, and it makes a difference on the parts that we all use when we play ball. Your glutes, your hammies, your IT bands. And I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest therapeutic pistols I've ever had. And I've had the big ones, and they're bulky, and they're huge. And this thing is solid and strong, 2,500 RPMs. Rob, what do you think about the Yobo?
No, it's epic. It's I took it on my last swing out west, my last trip, and it's huge. I tore my meniscus last year. That was kind of going from not doing any sports for 10 years to jumping into pickleball every single day.
Nice.
And acting like I was still 21. It tore my meniscus, and so just trying to build up the muscle back around that side of my knee and my calves. And this wasn't stuff I had to do when I was younger. But now I like the Yobo I use religiously. I use it before, after. And the nice part is that it's tiny, right? So I can just take it with me. The only downside is that I've gotten stopped twice now at TSA.
With that?
I think it was because I had it outside of the carrying case. So I had it just individually, so it kind of looked like an actual gun, I guess. But just keep it in the carrying case.
Or better yet, just open it when you go through, so no one's gonna ask you.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Lesson learned. But no, it's awesome.
Great product. All right, I'm sure Dave's
Really
giving
cool.
a thumbs up right now.
Let's see, where are we here? So you've only been playing the game a couple of years. Obviously, a year probably was taken away. So do you see other top tennis players, squash, racquetball, quickly transitioning? I mean, you said some may not translate, tennis players maybe that work ground strokes more than, some of the other parts of their game. But do you think this is a kind of a quick pickup for, those competitive athletes?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's pretty wild that you can go from not ever having heard of the sport to being, around the top 10 in 2 years. It's pretty wild, right? Like, it's taken a lot of effort, actually. It's been a ton of playing. It's been a ton of practice, studying, being really intentional with my time, and spending a lot of money actually to pursue the tours and getting my name out there and getting results. And it all kind of snowballs, get better partners eventually. And so it's there's a lot of work that goes into it, but at the same time, if you really commit, I feel like, and you have the skill set, I did it. So I'm nothing special. I've got some innate ability, hand-eye coordination, tennis skills, that kind of thing, high level stuff from the past. But at the same time, I'm not the only person with that skill set. There's, people can definitely come into the sport and do what I've done. But like I said, it's more about the work ethic and the commitment to actually seeing it through, because, you see a lot of really high level tennis players come into it, play a couple tournaments, think they're going to be very good, get blown out because, one, they're not that good yet. Two, their partner's not going to help them do it because they're not very good yet. And then you get discouraged because it's so expensive, and then you stop. So I feel like it needs to be like you need to be able to give yourself some runway, give yourself a year, give yourself 2 years to actually get to the level that you want to get at. And if yeah, I feel like that's the way to do it. But yeah, there's a lot of barriers to it.
So how long had it been since you played tennis competitively? It's been a few years, right?
Oh, it had been at least a decade.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took quite a long hiatus from stopped tennis at about 23, 24. I was coaching a little bit then. And then and then just worked, got into business a little bit, and then found pickleball and wasn't in very good shape. And pickleball got me in shape fast though. It was a blast. It was the most I had moved in a long time. But yeah, it was a big break, and that's what led to the meniscus tear, like I mentioned. Because I was, not doing anything for 10 years. Mentally, you still think that you're just as fresh, and your body can just do all the same things without. Yeah. Oops. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, off the court, do you work out? Besides playing pickleball, has you changed your diet? Any of that to, keep you in the best shape you can be, or?
Yeah. So just I took quite a layoff from jogging. I used to jog and run all the time, like more long distance. But even up until early this year, I tested it and I still had soreness with the meniscus, kind of on the pounding of the long distance stuff. So I've cut that out. I like to do believe it or not, this is weird even saying it, but I enjoy yoga.
Why is that weird?
That's just never something I thought I would really enjoy, but I'm one of the least flexible people that I've known, that have always kind of been like that. So I think for my age and for like where I'm at, I think yoga is probably the best thing I can do for myself in terms of kind of keeping limber.
Sure.
I think
you ever do hot yoga?
I have, yes.
That's not funny. It's tough.
No, it's not funny. I'm smiling because it's painful.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I went, there was like 2 guys in there, all the rest of the girls. And you know where I was? In the back of the class.
100%.
Oh my gosh. It was brutal.
Yeah. No, hot yoga is serious.
But then you start learning about core, and you learn about these. And then as a coach, it helps because you know it. You probably think about it subconsciously when you're playing. You have to be digging in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think you get a lot of good work just through pickleball, especially if you're playing properly and you're actually moving your feet and not being lazy, because it requires you to get low a lot, especially at the kitchen, right? Like you're doing a lot of kind of side lunges, and kind of squat position quite a bit. So I try to do a lot of leg stuff too, because I feel like that's at the end of a long tournament day, you need your legs more than you really need anything. So
absolutely correct. Yeah, that's what keeps you up.
That's it.
And how about some of these 5-set matches, or 5-set matches like the PPA is doing? I mean, you got to be tough for that.
Yep, absolutely. Especially if you're one of these guys that are in a couple of the events, right? Like if you have somebody playing best of 5 singles and best of 5 mixed, especially for the guy, that's a lot of movement.
Yeah, sure.
But at the same time, even a regular tournament day, because that's just a couple. You're playing max 10 games. In a regular tournament day, you could play more than that pretty easily.
Right.
So yeah, I think whether it's the finals day, best of 5, or whether it's regular tournament day, you're going to need your legs regardless. So,
hey Rob, quick question: are you one of those athletes that packs before they go? They don't just say, "Well, I'll find some food when I get there."
Oh, what do you mean? At the venue?
A cooler of the stuff that you like to eat, that you want to have for food throughout the day or the weekend.
Yeah. No, I make a run to the grocery store to get my own stuff. Most of the stuff provided isn't usually great. A lot of cookie type stuff, but so I have my own bars and fruit and stuff like that.
Good deal.
But for me, it's more about hydration on tournament days. I don't actually eat a ton, but I try to load up with electrolytes, leading up to a tournament as well as day of. So that's usually my priority over food.
Great. I'm a heavy drinker like you. I mean, I'm easily a gallon a day.
Yeah, that's huge. That's super important.
Mm-hmm.
So let's close out with this one, Rob. What are you most excited about for the future of pickleball?
Oh, it's such an exciting time right now. Honestly, there's just a lot of moving parts. You have two pro tours. You've got this new Major League Pickleball thing. You've got new rating systems. You've got a lot of new players coming in. And a lot of new money coming in. Like the 8 team owners for Major League Pickleball are not your traditional, pickleball company sponsors. Like they're wealthy individuals from outside the sport that just love the sport. So, having new money come into the sport, I think is really big, because it's a whole set of eyeballs and people and attention that haven't been exposed to it before. So yeah, then I think the next 12 to 24 months it's gonna be crazy. Even since when I came into it, like I had no idea coming into it that my first event at 2020 Mesa PPA was the first PPA ever. Like I didn't know. I thought they had the tour the year before, and like I had no idea that was their first tournament. So it's just going to be cool to see like what happens with the pro tours. Like, are they gonna kind of join forces? Is one gonna beat the other? Are they gonna evolve into different focuses? So on the pro side, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot going on. But I think, it's going in the right direction. I think pickleball as a whole, for kind of the general public, has everybody seeing. It's everywhere. Like even in Austin here, there's 3 new kind of restaurant pickleball concepts popping up here in the next year or so. One, it's called the Electric Pickle. So very similar to like a chicken and pickle, restaurant, bar, and a bunch of pickleball courts. So 3 different ones in Austin in the next couple of years, or the next year. We've got Austin Pickle Ranch that's coming here soon, which will be, I think, over 30 courts in Austin. And I think you're just going to keep seeing more and more of these big facilities pop up, and I think you'll see a lot of tennis courts convert over to pickleball. And I think it's awesome because pickleball, in my opinion, is a lot more fun than tennis. It's a lot easier to pick up and start playing if you're a beginner. There's nothing worse than looking at a tennis court at 2 beginners and watching them just walk and chase balls the whole time. That can't be fun. Right. It's not fun. Yeah. You can have a rally the first time you play pickleball. Play pickleball. It's much better. Yeah. So
it always cracks me up when I go to local tournaments and they use a tennis court and they only paint a line their side. Then you watch them spend all the time going to get the balls. Yeah. Why don't you just put 2 temporary nets and let the actual
net stop it?
The border in between have 4 instead of 2. But everybody does stuff differently.
or they do it wrong.
I didn't want to say it like that.
I'll do it for you.
So Rob, I have to ask one more. So the APP is going to Mexico, Canada, and Europe. Right. Do you see yourself on any of those trips, or?
So I haven't kind of decided my schedule fully yet for next year. But I'll tell you, I think one of the better things that we can do as a sport is get more international. So I would love to get to Europe. So kind of slight backstory. I love travel. I even hosted kind of retreats for entrepreneurs that were called blackout trips that basically got entrepreneurs to unplug for a week. No phone, no laptop, no anything, just because we're always on devices nowadays. So did that in a bunch of different places, but did it in Ireland, did it in Norway. So I love traveling. I love Europe specifically. My wife eventually wants to live in Europe. So I could totally see us doing something in pickleball in Europe and even helping grow the sport. Like when I think about what I want to do in pickleball as a whole, outside of playing pro pickleball, I would love to be a part of like making the sport mainstream internationally. Like that gets me excited. So I think it's awesome what the APP is doing in that respect. And I was actually looking at the schedule not too long ago. I'd love to try to get over there for there's a stretch of 3 tournaments in a row, which is like, I think French Open, Italian Open, Spanish Open. If I could hop on a few of those, it'd be a blast.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Be the U.S. ambassador to Europe, right?
Be awesome.
Cool.
That sounds like a blast.
Well, it's Rob, nice. You've done some event planning, so when you go to tournaments and you see all the holes in the setup and
Yeah.
probably drives you crazy.
Yeah. To be fair, they've they take feedback quite well, and they're doing
Mhm.
really good jobs. So
Well, Rob, it's been a great pleasure to have you. You've been amazing. You just have such a great short history, but a lot of moving parts, and what's happened the last couple of years, and it's just
Yep.
been great to have you unwrap that for us.
no, my pleasure. It's been fun.
Rob, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. Best of luck to you, your wife, and the dog.
Lucy, let's go.
Lucy, let's go. All right.
Thanks, Coach
hopefully-
Mike. All right.
Hopefully, we'll meet in person, not in the not too distant future when you get down here to Florida.
Any plans for Florida for 22?
Yeah. So I'll be there 2 weeks in a row in January. So I'll be there for the PPA in Orlando, and then I'll be at the APP Masters the week after.
Oh,
Oh,
wonderful.
great. That's
I
just
think
down the road
Boca.
from us. That's not far at
So
all.
we can meet then. Look forward to it, guys.
You're playing
Absolutely.
nationals? You're going to nationals?
I'm not. My partner's kind of pulled out on that one. So I'm
Okay.
Nope.
But there's a tournament here in December right in my backyard where I live. You know about
I
it.
know. I've been considering it. So it's
All
on
right,
my
well,
radar. I might make an appearance. We'll see.
So I'll save you a little bit of money. You got a place to crash.
Okay, cool.
All right?
Coach Mike
appreciate
has
it,
a
Coach
big
Mike.
back seat in his car, so
That's right. Yeah. You can
It's
spread
better
out.
than a tent in the backyard.
well, Rob,
All right,
thanks
Rob,
again.
have a
We
great
appreciate
night. Stay
it.
healthy, my friend.
Pleasure. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye now.
See ya. Thank you.
Well, you called it, Jeff. You said he was a great kid, and literally 3 or 4 people text me because they knew what we were having him on and said, one of the classiest, nicest guys on the tour. He's just like he is when you talk to him. He plays like that. He's very, you'll never see anything derogatory about this kid.
And you're absolutely right from what I've heard, and that's the beauty of the sport. We talk about this, and where we play, there are, I don't know how many members, 800-900 members.
Wow.
And or more. I don't even know the number. I'd have to ask Bob, but I can count on one hand the people that we would rather not play with. It's just there's so many great people.
They're everywhere, though, not just where you are. They're everywhere.
Absolutely.
And, he brought up a really good point for people that think that winning the game or the point means anything. It really doesn't. To them, it does, and it's important to win. I understand that half of it, but if you really wanted to grow, if you really wanted to become a stronger player, you don't focus on the weaker player that you can beat up. What's the advantage? It's not a win-win.
Exactly.
Challenge yourself. Let the stronger player and helpful, stronger player on the other side, they're not going to destroy you either. They're going to test you. They're going to give you more shots to make. That's all. I mean, it happens all the time. You know that. You're in a point and it's over in 3 shots. Would you rather be in a point that's over in 8 or 10 shots? More dinking, more finesse, more control? And the answer is always going to be yes for someone
Absolutely.
like you who wants to get better. But I appreciate the fact some people are out there just for one reason. Give me a ball like 3 feet above my head so I can crush it. And they're happy.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong in that too. And they'll never go to a tournament. They don't care about coaching. And that makes it great too. If you're having fun, then just keep doing what you're doing. And, on the other side, he had mentioned how you're that odd guy out. They're never hitting you the ball, right? So I can tell you what happens when there's 3 strong players and a weaker player. The same thing happens. They avoid the weaker player and they play with each other. So it happens both ways. Neither one of them are right, but.
Well, at 6'4", I faced that a lot, regardless of whether the other player is better or not.
Right.
They just think based on my size that, I'm going to be the better player, but it's not always the case.
Yeah, the odds are better to get away from you than near you because you got much longer arms and legs. You're right.
Right. Well, Coach Mike, another great show.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure hanging out with you.
It's funny because I watched him and Cassidy play. I was there. Incredible. You're like, oh, there's no way we're going to get that one. And it comes back. And they're so much faster than us, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
You see an overhead slam, you go, oh, that ball's dead. These guys just stand still and just pop it right back. Like, hey, that's all you got?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And he must have been a superb tennis player because he just walked right on. Think about 2 years ago. Did you ever hear of this kid?
No.
No, of course not. Now everyone knows him. and he's having the best players in the country asked to play with him. So,
I mean, he just played his first tournament a year and a half ago.
wow. I think when he played with Cassidy, he was on, I'm trying to remember. It was on TV, like it was the TV channel, the tennis channel, when him and Cassidy won gold in pickleball.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's very humble. You see how he talks.
Absolutely.
Not a bragger at all.
Absolutely.
Super. All right, Jeff. I
Well,
got
thanks, Mike.
something up my sleeve for next week, but I'm not telling you yet.
All right.
Thanks,
Sounds
Jeff,
good.
for all your work. I appreciate it. Stay healthy.
Coach, have a great night.
Either I'm coming over to your coast or you're coming to my coast.
You keep
Make some
threatening. Come
plans.
on now.
Bring it over.
Bring it over.
You got it. Jeff, have a great night. Thank you,
All
man.
right, you
Stay
too.
healthy. Be blessed.
Thanks.